CalazCon is a show about war, obsession, colonialist occupation, and the many forms of violence those inflict. See the description for content warnings specific to this episode. Good afternoon, IPS-31A.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
What's your relation to Lieutenant Thermidor?
Lieutenant Thermidor is a squad mate of mine in Terminal Company. We have fought together.
And that's all?
I would describe our relationship as primarily a professional one in that sense.
I see. Why did you use methods outside of your squad's purview to oust the 501st?
The squad identified a unconventional means of engaging with the 501st. I attempted to guide them back towards a method I believe would be more in line with DFS protocol.
How do you feel about the outcome of those methods?
I believe we fulfilled the mission parameters successfully.
Is that all?
I would say so. I don't have any particular comment on the other outcomes.
Noted. Now tell me about the AI core.
Hello, listeners, and welcome to CalazCon. I am your GM, Elspeth, pronouns she, her. Today, I'm joined by Philo.
Hello, I am the Philo T. Hazard. I remain using the they and the thems. I hope you're having a good day.
And I'm also joined by Matt.
That's me, Matt. Yes, I am he, him pronouns.
And Don.
Hi, I'm Don. I use he, him pronouns.
And finally, Sabriel.
What's up? Sabriel, she, her pronouns.
We'd also like to thank our squad sponsor, Lily Young. Great. So, following an interesting downtime and our first legislature session, it's time for Terminal Company's second mission. So, what sort of things did you get up to in downtime? Just for a bit of a recap.
I got yelled at so much.
That seems reasonable.
Everyone mean to me.
I had some bonding time with a robot and another robot.
Very important.
I was a robot that got to have bonding time with a robot and a robot's handler.
It's not inaccurate now I think about it.
Yeah, so a lot of yelling, a lot of attempted interference from the 501st and the early birds, and
I got drunk.
Yes, and tried to sell novelty tequila on eBay.
You got aggressively drunk at me, specifically.
Yes. And declared myself to be the greatest pilot and engineer on the planet.
I got Mike to fix my mech after it had been impaled, and when he asked me about the impossibility of it being able to support the other mech it holds up, I told him that it was held up by the power of love, and he got very angry at me.
Yep.
I can't imagine why.
And if all of that was somewhat mixed, what went better was the first legislature session, for which you've received a letter from Fishy, the squad's legislator representative, which reports on the success that he had there.
Dear Birdie, the transition has been hard, but my first session as legislator couldn't have gone better. I managed to put one over on some old guy and maintain our dignity. This letter will be sent with plus 3D in supply, by the way. Did you know legislators get aides? I could really use a secretary. I think there's a way to draw from the pool of interns, but their hands are all soft. Wouldn't it be funny if y'all sent me a big ugly fucker to handle the paperwork? I figured out how to apply for security clearance myself and could rush them through pretty easily. Also, I got the fight y'all wanted. 501st. I'm sure Renaissance will give you the details. XOXO fish emoji.
So, yeah, that's the report you get back following the legislator session. You have +3 dice on your next supply roll, so always very welcome. And you've been given your next mission, which is to attack the 501st Bastards Legion.
That's pretty straightforward, and we're quite good at it.
Yeah, very efficient. So,
But where are we attacking them?
that is the question, isn't it? So how about we find out? How about we once again set the scene in your direct superior, Rene Standingstone's office. He's once again sort of rubbing his hands together in kind of forced enthusiasm with that really insufferable Calazar mural behind him. And he brings up a recording on his computer and presses play. Your next mission briefing is in the form of what seems to be a voicemail with there's a lot of background noise of just driving and an occasional car horn. The briefing reads as follows. So, the 501st set themselves up in a back room of the old university. And since then, it's all been going to shit. More than usual, I mean. All our apps and proxies are getting all out of joint, and with everything going on, we really need those. For a while, it seemed like a fair trade. The 501st come through here, it's good business, we get to sting them a little, run up their overheads, but they just won't leave. I know those guys are committed to the bit, but I heard what that place is like now. Who stays there for that long? You can tell it's getting to them too. They're getting pushier, taking from us without paying. Again, more than usual, I mean. Whatever. Even if we had the firepower to chase them out, we can kiss our paychecks goodbye if we do. But from what I've heard, that's not so much of a problem for you, right? Oh, and if you find their supply caches, what they stole from us, if you could... You know what, never mind. If you find them, just do what you want with them, if that's what it takes to persuade you to get these bastards gone. And that is signed Morn Marza of the Hive.
This Morn person seems to think we need a lot more convincing than we do.
Yeah, I'm happy to take. I'm happy to take the bribe, though. I've got to be honest. Always got to play the angles.
So you should be able to see the briefing for Operation Raven's Flight. And to summarise that, your employer is the Hive. Your target is the 501st Bastards Division. Your objective is to make them abandon their current fortified position in the Curse. Your secondary objective is to reclaim their supply caches. Your rules of engagement are no threats or use of force against civilians, no Hive casualties, and no damage to civilian property outside Curse.
That doesn't seem especially stringent.
No.
The threats could be tricksy, but I guess we'll just have to be nice.
It really depends how many civilians are mixed in with the 501st position.
Yeah, true.
Michael is sort of the opinion that there aren't really any civilians here since he sort of invaded the planet and started fighting us for this convention, but I don't think that's a pitch you can probably make to the upper brace.
Well, it's an ex-university campus. Oh, I mean, I hope it'll be a university campus again at some point. I mean, half of these folks are cosplayers and all, so suppose I'm a little hesitant about threatening them without being threatened first anyway. Shouldn't be too hard to keep the Hive casualties to the minimum, right?
The sort of context that you get here is the 501st have set themselves up basically on the outer edge of the Curse, where it borders Artist's Alley, and they are not leaving, and for a while this was helpful for the Hive in Artist's Alley, because the Hive are Javangelian citizens who are being employed by CalazCon in order to keep access to, money and basic amenities and so on, but are doing so in a way that attempts to hinder CalazCon a little. So for a while, having some CalazCon people set up near them was helpful, but now something about what they're doing is causing technological issues for them. They're staying longer than they expected. They would quite like you to evict them. So your fundamental goal here isn't wipe out the 501st or anything. The bare minimum is just make them move somewhere else.
But, a bit of a light wiping out.
On behalf of the Jovangelian Empire.
Is that the way Julius phrases it to Renee?
Yes.
Oh, well, yes, you understand. It's not a major operation, and if we can cripple the 501st auxiliary efforts, then it will have broader ramifications for your own efforts on the siege line, of course. What with them holding that and so on,
They're still civilians.
The situation.
No matter what side they're on, they can't help being born here, right? Living here.
Michael's hand had shot up, and as you're saying that, True slightly goes down, as if he had a question that he was going to bring up, but now doesn't feel comfortable doing so.
She squints.
I don't think whether the operation is minor or major is material. My question is whether or not our actions are helping the Jovangelian war effort.
And Michael looks confused. Pausing as if it takes a little while for this to come out of his throat. Yes, I agree with Julius.
Well,
he looks very confused. His finger is up as he's still chewing.
Shot of Julius's face completely unmoving.
You have to understand the situation is very complex. We now have 3 minimum major parties involved in the field, and so it's as frustrating as I know it must be. It's in some ways somewhat beyond us to foresee the ramifications and broader imbrications of these sorts of things. It's inevitable, perhaps, that when we attack one party, we aid the other and so on. The important thing is the bigger picture of us ending in the most advantageous situation.
Ours not to reason why, huh?
Are we permitted to sabotage the hive in ways that do not involve direct confrontation? Is that an explicit violation of our ROE?
I mean, it says no casualties. It doesn't say anything beyond that. Although it doesn't sit right with me.
I'd like to hear that from Renee, please.
Renee looks around, sort of does loosens his collar a little thing, that sort of gesture. Well, that hardly feels in the spirit of things, does it?
I believe I asked a very straightforward question.
Yeah, that's not a no, Renee. It's a bad sport, but that's not a no.
No, it isn't a no, but I do think that the spirit of such matters is important, and it would not behoove us to take advantage of laxities in the wording of our orders from those who know better, especially after all the work our dear
raised eyebrows know better.
Yeah, also raised eyebrows to know better at the same time.
Especially after all the work our dear legislature representative has done to secure this mission for us.
I'd like that in writing, please. You may include your objections if you'd like. But mainly, I'd like the part where you said no.
Yeah, it says no damage to civilian property outside Curse, but Curse itself, it's some kind of training program, right?
Well, Curse used to be the former university, so it's not ideal to damage the infrastructure. It will hardly help the rebuilding efforts for when we finally can claim the city and bring it into the warm embrace of democracy. But we have to accept that given your mission, that is somewhat inevitable collateral. Driving the 501st out of their current fortified position may well mean effectively rendering it uninhabitable.
Again, in writing, please.
I mean, that one's quite clear. The 501st fortified position is within Curse.
Oh, sure. I just, in character, Julius wants all of this written down so that if a superior officer comes and asks him, hey, what did you do? Why'd you do that? He can produce this order and say, hey, these were our orders. This is specifically the wording that was used. We have not been expressly forbidden from damaging the Hive's interests. Suck on that.
Just in case of a military tribunal.
Just in case. Listen, it's sometimes these things happen.
Mm-hmm.
The rules of engagement are in writing for sure. The thing about, sabotaging the Hive in some way, I think that Renee's response to that is something like, far be it from me to, to presume on how you, conduct yourselves on a battlefield outside of our explicit or implicit orders and, ethos as part of the DFS. However, if you were to find yourself in a situation where having this explicit acknowledgement that you are not forbidden from sabotaging the Hive in writing, that to me would indicate a failure of subtlety and of delicacy, a fundamental lack of opprobrium on your part.
That's correct.
I suggest that if you are not confident you can have those things, and therefore not need the permission in writing, you refrain from doing them.
Did you say you suggest?
Yes.
Ah, very good.
There's a nod from Renee. I think Renee thinks that he's won that particular engagement, which I'm not sure he has.
As long as I get that in writing, I don't care.
This is to do with this hearts and minds stuff, right?
Oh no, he's saying, you don't get that in writing, because, if you need it in writing, that's because you fucked up and not done this sabotage you want to do in a way that is subtle.
Ah, okay. Julius takes out a notebook and writes very conspicuously, Superior Officer declined to give orders in writing. Just turns around to everyone. Witnessed?
Mike raises his hand. He'll even sign it at the bottom.
Yeah.
I'm shaking my head through this exchange, by the way. Slightly back from the rest of the squad.
True rolls her eyes, but she'll raise a finger, yeah.
Very good. I think he leaves at this point.
Renee tries to play it cool, but then flinches and clears his throat to say something, but just too late, it's just before you shut the door. Well then.
Nice.
Any further questions?
You can be assured that we'll stick to the rules of engagement.
Thank you, it's a pleasure to work with you. Michael, when you get a moment, do remind Julius. This weekend, Julius, movie night. Julius, cinema, film. It's going to be great.
Oh! Yeah!
Thank you.
Yes. Right, no, I'll... Mm-hmm.
Renee made exactly the same reminder at your briefing for your last mission.
I'm on it. I'm on it, boss.
So how juicy is it for me to just talk to the Hive? Because I bet they fucking hate me.
I think that could be fun.
Just with the intention of, one, figuring out exactly where all of their shit is so that we know not to break any of it. We're trying to figure out where the 501st are. So figuring out where their shit all is so we know not to break all of it, and then figuring out where their shit is so we know not to break all of it.
Wait, so you mean you're going to say, oh, show us where all your important stuff is so we don't accidentally shoot it, wink?
Yes.
Okay. To be clear, the Hive are entirely based in Artist's Alley. There are ways of sabotaging the Hive that do not do this, but if you just, shoot the building they keep their shit in, then you will have damaged civilian property outside Curse.
Right, okay, they want the 501st out because they want access to Curse.
No, they've said the 501st are, right on the border between Curse and Artist's Alley, and Something about them being there is causing technological issues that are bleeding over into Artist's Alley, and they aren't leaving. They want you to evict some shitty neighbours, basically.
Some kind of like AR poisoning or something weird like that, right?
Oh, okay, so we need to just figure out what that is, so then we can not remove it. Get rid of the 501st, just leave that intact.
Yeah, true, you could potentially...
That would be within the rules of engagement.
Yeah, that would definitely work if you do want to obey your orders to the letter without fixing the hive's problem. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
It might affect how much we count as helping the hearts and minds goal, but I guess we'll play to find out what happens.
Yeah.
We did it last time. It's fine.
Yeah.
We don't need to do it this time.
Yeah, someone else needs to put a tick in that clock.
Yeah, it's someone else's turn. With that in mind, does anyone have any ideas for how to prep for this mission?
Well, I do very legitimately want to go, talk to the hive to figure out exactly what the situation is with, the AR poisoning or whatever.
Love the phrase AR poisoning, by the way. That's sick.
I feel like someone else said that, and it was good.
Matt said it, but, you know.
Yeah, I'm not sure how accurate that is, but some kind of, because across all of Beam Saber, there's this AR layer. We didn't super go into it in the first mission, but there's this level of apps and proxies and stuff that's on top of things. So there's a lot of scope there for bleed over that could be messy.
For poisoning.
For poison.
Someone looked at this AR layer and said, great target for some poisoning.
Hell yeah.
Alright. Yeah, I think you have contact details for the Morn Marza who left that message for you. So you could definitely ask to meet with her.
Would love to do that. Would anyone like to come with me?
I'll come with you.
Oh, great. Okay. It's not. Okay. Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine.
Is it, say, doing this out of a sense of thinking someone should have an eye on Julius?
Possibly. I'm actually picturing that Julius doesn't necessarily plan this with Ipse, but I'm just waiting when you leave, and you're not 100% sure how I figured out you were doing this. But
okay, great. Is there time to have a conversation about it, or?
Yeah, I mean...
Okay.
I think I'm literally waiting at the, hangar doors, as it were, as you're heading out.
Do I get the sense you disapprove of this?
I think I'm still pretty hard to read for you, but I think the way I explain it to you is I say, there are potential hazards in Artist's Alley. I believe it would be best if I accompany you.
Certainly.
I don't want any of the tension between you and the hive to cause interference to anyone's safety.
No. That would be unfortunate.
I've cleared my guard duty schedule for the rest of the day. I would be happy to accompany you.
Thank you. Do you understand the approach I'm attempting to take here?
I'm familiar, yes.
Is that going to be a problem?
I want to see what the situation is like on the ground myself, and then we'll decide.
Right. Okay. I think the rest of the car ride is in silence.
Sure.
Okay. Well, it's funny you mention a car ride, because I think what happens is you message this Mon Marza to ask for a meeting, and the response you get is just a map pin that's quite near your FOB. Be there in 15.
All right.
There is a car waiting for you there, being driven by a woman whose art you can now see on the Roll20.
Do we want to get a description for the this podcast listeners?
Kind of neat hair. Looks like they're wearing a beanie of some ilk. Round glasses. In this picture at least, they're wearing a choker and like a band t-shirt or something like that. Pierced ears. Nice eye makeup. Nice lipstick going on there. They look good. Mm-hmm. That's a good vibe.
The choker's the most important detail.
You're valid.
Yeah, no, the red lipstick with the casual outfit I think is significant.
Yeah, that too.
I'm colorblind, so I didn't flag that at all, but...
Yeah, the car that shows up is a taxi. Mon Marza is a taxi driver.
Ooh.
So, you get in a car, and I think there's heavy metal playing. I think that Mon might have given up much pretense of customer entertainment, given everything that's going on during her taxi rides. she just immediately starts talking like, all right, yeah, great to see you. Great to hear that you're interested. So, I just figured we could just drive around the block, or did you want to check something out? Get something somewhere quieter to talk? I'd prefer it if we talked here, honestly, but how can I help you?
I'm perfectly happy to speak here.
Great. Works for me. So what do you want to know?
Well, as we're going to be undertaking this mission on your behalf, we are interested in the exact nature of your issue with the 501st, so that we can address it.
Right. Yeah. So you can see Morn's eyes in the car mirror. You can see them sort of repeatedly flitting back at you. You get a sense that she's aware of who you are and is just trying to be cool about it.
All right.
Yeah, so I showed up like weeks ago, and at first it seemed fine. We figured it was a good business opportunity, but it'd be fun to try to give them a few problems, but everything's going a bit weird. Like my mapping app, it keeps giving me addresses that don't exist in this city or haven't for decades even. My friend, they had a proxy who minded their store while they were gone, and then one day they showed up and their proxy was just carrying a gun. And then the next day they showed up and it wasn't there at all. And we saw it off on the other side of a fence. Like, it had just forgotten what it was doing. And it goes the other way as well. It's hard to sell your art, your taxi fares, your whatever, when there's half a platoon. And I mean, like, literally half. Just the right side. Not half a number of soldiers, half the person walking down the middle of your street.
I see.
They've already taken enough of our shit, and now it's getting harder and harder to get to custom from anyone else.
Do you have any compunctions about employing the DFS in order to solve your issue?
Not really. I mean, look, I live here. Look at me. Look at my job. I do this for a living. I love this place. But if you think that getting you to do something that you want to do and were probably going to do already was only a matter of time, getting you to do that, to help us out, make sure that we can get our food, get a decent phone signal to call our families, that is the least of the things that I've had to accept I need to do to get by like this.
I take it you had no success appealing to your higher-ups in the Evangelion forces?
Yeah, I mean, we tried, and they probably would get to it eventually, but we need better than eventually.
I have 2 questions for you.
Yeah?
Are you attached to the Evangelion war effort in any significant way?
I mean, what do you want me to say to that? You know the score. It feels kind of gauche to lay it out. I've had some run-ins with some of your friends. We've had some run-ins with us. Look at your dossiers, whatever. You know the work we do. All I can do is tell you why, and that until this kicked off, I just drove people from one place to another.
I'm not asking my dossiers. I have access to intelligence. I'm asking you.
I'm involved in keeping my friends and my home safe from an army. 2 armies.
Is that all?
There's no is that all to it, you know? Like, I'm involved in keeping my home safe from 2 entire fucking armies, and if I need a safe route to a doctor, or I need some rubble cleared, and DFS are going to ask for intel, or for pay, or for food, or for a lift, or anything, and the Evangelions are going to do it for free? What do you want me to do? Or what else should I do? Like, I told you what I need here, what we all need here. And from there it's just a matter of maths.
I think Julia sort of looks at Ipse and says, I think we should start clearing the rubble for free.
We would have to bring that up with Renee, but I'm happy to do so at the next meeting.
Second question, and then, unless my colleague has any more questions, and I'll let you get on with your day. Are you aware of who I am?
I mean, I honestly kind of assumed you wouldn't show up in person, but... yeah.
I imagine if we were going to have an issue, we would have already had it.
Yeah. Yeah, we would have.
Ipse, did you have any other questions?
No, that'll be all for us, I think.
Well, here is my number. If any issues come up, don't hesitate to give me a call.
I'd let you out now, but we've got to keep driving for just, 5 more minutes. A CalazCon guy left his phone in my car, and I've just been, logging taxi fares on it until he reports it's stolen. So, gotta keep driving to just over there.
I think Julius, smiles at that.
Great. So yeah, there was a very awkward sort of 5 or so minutes more of driving.
Yeah, and I think Julius does pay the fare, right? Even if she is logging someone else's, does insist on paying for the 15-minute ride or whatever. Unless, sorry, Ipse, was there anything else that you wanted to say in the scene?
I don't think so. I think I'm pretty satisfied with that.
Cool.
I think given that we actually got to meet more, and I'm partly here to make sure you don't just kill someone.
I don't kill people. I don't just kill random civilians we meet.
I mean,
Julius Thermidor follows the Space Geneva Convention.
Yeah, but Julius Thermidor also has it sounded earlier like you have an interesting line on what counts as a civilian. So
that was Mike.
That was Mike.
All right.
Mike does not necessarily. Mike does not necessarily.
It came up in the
this.
conversation.
It did come up, and I think potentially we get like an awkward scene when we get back to the base where Julius has completely reversed his position.
Yeah, I'm glad that I got to see Julius learn the situation, if nothing else.
Yeah, alright.
I'm not sure how much he got to actually help you with your mission there, but it's still very important.
I feel like maybe we at least got some information about how stuff works, right? If it's not immediately obvious intel, potentially later on we could be this person says this thing and it gave us this information.
Yeah, because there could be stuff that happened abstracted slightly, especially for that latter part. I mean, is there a role involved in this, or is it just an info that comes out?
I could roll consort if that would get something else.
Yeah, if you want to abstract some of your other conversations, see the extent to which you can get some. Because if you strike up a rapport with Morn, then she'll talk more, and she might happen to raise something which is useful, but that she hasn't realised is useful. So yeah, I think if you wanted to roll consort, then I think something could definitely come of that.
Is that help from Ipse? Would that be okay?
It would cost stress.
Yeah.
Oh, would it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm happy to roll 2 dice.
I think you should just roll on your own.
Go for it.
All right, cool. Wow. Okay, I got a 4.
I think just as an aside while complaining, Morn mentioned something about the 501st being holed up in that ridiculous music department building, and goes on this brief tangent of complaining about its architecture because it has this sort of very modern, kind of twisted metal roofing that when it was installed reflected the sun in a weird way and burnt her car or something.
Oh, like the gherkin or whatever.
Yes.
It was the walkie-talkie.
Okay.
Hello from Britain.
Yes.
Yeah. She also mentions that she occasionally still hears music coming from there. So you know where they're set up, and she mentions specifically seeing them moving on the roof. And the way she describes the roof, you realise that with how strange the architecture of this very modern building is, the roof is a very weird shape and effectively provides really good cover. So you know that that's part of their fortification. Just weird modern architecture, that they're based in the music department of the old university specifically, and there's still music there, apparently. To give you an idea of the sort of thing I meant, this is kind of like the deal I'm picturing for the roof.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fucked up.
It looks like crumpled up ribbon or something like that, but made out of metal.
Yeah.
As the kind of ceiling surface of an otherwise fairly modern building. If you're thinking of like a Guggenheim situation, you're probably along the right
This is
line.
apparently the Frank Gehry designed Pritzker Pavilion in Chicago. Did anyone have any other plans?
Yeah, I think Mike is probably keen on trying to figure out what's going on with this AR poisoning. Maybe trying to, I guess we've kind of learned about the music department, maybe trying to focus either what it's doing or what could be causing this kind of thing. Like if we're going to get ambushed by something weird on the AR level, that seems sensible. And so I guess being out kind of around this area, trying to surreptitiously, catch sight of some of these anomalies, using any of these posts, like Wi-Fi boosting posts, or like network posts that kind of came up last mission, go into those and see if we can get a route that way. If that makes sense. I don't know, narratively, if True, do you want to come along for this, or is this a solo joint for Mr. Carmichael?
Sure, I'm not adverse to that.
All right, great.
The camera can cut from this taxi car. We have to kind of go a circuitous route round past the siege line to get in via another gate. So I don't know if we're on a bus or something like that as we're kind of going through towards this area. Mike is wearing working for the Joe Vangelians still doesn't particularly sit well for him. So he's wearing the sports team colours of the Bastock Ironmongers, his hometown team, which his hometown was attacked by the Joe Vangelian Empire. So he's repping them a bit as he's walking around. And if there's anything you want to colour the scene with, True, we can get on to making an interface roll, I guess, as we're kind of just walking around.
Yeah, my thinking was take a laptop or something like that, or I mean, the obvious thing is walking a perimeter and seeing Morn mentioned, proxies glitching out and projections and whatnot. To see if we see any instances of those, but also then taking our own tech and seeing, we leave the Wi-Fi open and scanning or whatever the hell, and see whether our own technology is impacted.
Mike's got his glove. I know that's strictly speaking an engineering tools, but I think that covers. I mean, I'll tick the load for the laptop as well, but I think that's just an additional module that can get bolted onto it to cover that. Oh, how about if we're going around the perimeter? What if we were on a tour bus, one of those open-topped tour buses as we're going around, and we're just going through these areas?
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, nice.
I guess I should roll an interface as we're kind of going around, basically, getting the stuff that True said. Are you going to give a help there, True, or...
Yeah, I'll give a cheeky help. Gathering information is a free help.
No, it's not a free help, unfortunately.
Nah.
What is True and Mike's connection clock right now? We are on 2. That's probably a little... I could go into the mission with 5 stress.
You don't have to. I think we're probably fine.
I mean, what's the worst? Too late. I've already filled in the asterisks on my character sheet, man, and everyone knows that those can never be revoked.
Yeah, it's true.
That is true, yes. She's with Mike on the tour bus. You'd think that'd get old, but it never does.
Also, that means you can also choose 2 benefits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm going to choose an extra dice and let you work out what increased effect means for this, Elspeth. Sorry.
Sure, no problem.
That's a 1, 4, 3.
Okay.
Still a 4.
Yeah.
Well, we tried.
Yeah, and you got improved effect, so I think effectively that's going to be similar to a 6. As you go along this tour bus through Artist Sala, you see a few different things. In fact, this tour bus is automated. There's an app running the tour.
Concerning. Love it.
The first thing you notice is a few little, just the tiniest slips in its phrasing, instead of saying, as you look here on your right, it says something like, 2 clicks to the east, 1 north, point X, interest of target is... And then it just keeps going, as if nothing happened.
Definitely making a note of that.
Yeah.
A little scratch on the map, 2.1 clicks northeast or whatever that was.
Mike gives you a nod.
You notice other sort of weird changes as well. Like, I think you occasionally see there are probably other CalazCon attendees on this tour bus, and you see that they start having problems with their tech. And some of your tech is maybe a bit more secure because it's military, but it maybe happens a bit with yours as well. Just,
Well, like, I think deliberately we were taking, like, we've turned off the VPN on the laptop, left it air-gapped from our shit, but, made it deliberately susceptible to this kind of thing to see if we can work out what this kind of thing is actually doing.
Right,
so.
Yes, and I think that is what gives you the really useful information here.
I'm explicitly ticking my intrusion countermeasure program.
Yeah, that would definitely be helpful. I think with what's going on here, you'll be very grateful for that, because I think what happens is, for example, you briefly get a sense of one of the sort of apps on your machine getting corrupted. And one of the ways you can tell is, so to fill everyone in and make sure the audience is aware, because I don't know, I think Curse has maybe been on screen a little in prior missions. Curse stands for the Calazar Universe Reality Self-Insert Experience. Curse is a disused, surplus military AR training suite that was bought and hastily retrofitted into a Calazar augmented reality experience. So this means that it has some Calazar stuff in it, but it's overlaid on top of a lot of old Exodon and DFS military data. So on your military hardware, you briefly see things like flicker. Like, I'm imagining the default background image on this laptop is the DFS flag or something, and you see it warp and change to the DFS flag of a century ago. Like, there's one less star, or one more star, or something. You see the date change, or something. And that's one thing, but then later, another glitch happens. Something like, your, sat-nav tries to point you to a specific location that you weren't trying to go, or something. And you notice this time it's all of the little details roll back in time a century as if they're being overlaid with the DFS data from the Curse again. But then while this glitch is still happening, they update to the present, so they're correct. And you realize what's happening is someone is updating the military definitions of the Curse's military data in its apps and proxies so that they're current. And this is allowing them to interface with other current technology.
That seems really bad. I'm not thrilled by this development.
Yeah, you look over to Mike and Mike's face is kind of going a bit pale, like, this is bad.
Yeah, it seems kind of not good.
Mike will definitely be... Well, I guess both of us are going to be reporting this back, and, we need to... On top of whatever else is going on, we need to stop whatever is happening here.
Okay, I'll add that to the rules of engagement. No threats or use of force against civilians, no hive casualties, no damage to civilian property outside of Curse. Stop whatever is happening here.
Curse seems bad. Can we just break it?
You'd think something called Curse would be overall a good thing, and yet...
Yeah.
It is the fact that I helped my boy Mikey do his gathering information. Does that mean I can't do a gathering information myself?
No, because it's still an action, right?
Yeah.
That's sick. Can I try and air gap my Mac, but of course primarily long range?
Air gap?
If the shenanigans around here are messing with apps and proxies and whatnot, I would like to try and minimize possible interference specifically to long range. Because I'm not sure whether they count as an app or a proxy. Probably more of a proxy than an app, I guess. But I don't want my sniper rifle son to be glitching out in this horrible Curse space.
I'm a beautiful boy.
My sweet cheese.
I just realised the intrusion countermeasure program is actually the vehicle gear, so I'm unticking that at the moment. I might have a one-off use of that for my weight saving as that comes in, but yeah, I've ticked off the Palm computer and my my fine engineering tools for the thing to do that. So you might have access to that.
Interesting. Yeah, maybe that's it then. Maybe I just use the intrusion counter what's it. That's a piece of load, but I'm not averse to that. Yeah, okay.
So you say you still want to have a prep action around that, or you'll just declare it when the time comes?
Yeah, I think we'll just declare it and it'll be a flashback thing. We should probably have told the Hive to get their people out of there before we moved.
They're not stupid, so they're probably going to know to probably get out of there if they know we're going in.
I mean,
it's also possible that there'll be civilians on site who aren't part of the Hive anyway, right? So, like...
I think if you mention that to Morn says, we're civilians, and also there are civilians here who aren't even members of the Hive. Like, there are elderly people here who might, or disabled people who might struggle to move. There are children. If we do move, where is the safer place that we are going to? How do we get everyone there? We just have regular person cars. So I think that, like, we appreciate that's a solid plan.
Okay. That's the gathering information then. What I'm doing is I'm poring over the plans for the university and flagging bomb shelters, underground stations if they still exist, like storm shelters, all that kind of stuff where one might go in the event of such an issue. You know, I would expect a sizable public work to have that kind of thing, even if they anticipate never having used it. Or never to use it. How does that sound? What I am trying to do is I'm trying to identify places where civilians can go within the cursed compound, if they're still on site, to get them out of the way of this whole business.
They're not going to want to stray into the cursed compound. The Hive is on the Artist's Alley side, but I think the basic principle still holds if you can try to find, like, shelters they can go to, because even if, they've lived in this city for significantly longer than you, but even then you might be able to be like, yeah, I can tell that the warehouse over there is still basically intact, or, yeah, I can tell that this house actually had a weird basement that you can't see from the outside, or something.
And perhaps some of it is even the fact that we're getting these flickers of 100 years ago, and so I'm like, this stuff has been here for a century and has survived fucking orbital bombardment as the, you know, DFS and Joves were tangling, and CalazCon was coming down. So I'd like to roll study, please.
Yeah, go for it.
And that's a 3, controlled... Well, I mean, it's a fortune roll, isn't it? But that's a 3, so limited information, I guess.
Yeah, I'd say you managed to pinpoint a few places. You find, like, some, and then it turns out that the Hive were already aware of a fair few of them, but you still give them some, like, novel ideas.
Okay. So, while I may not have instructed them a great deal, I have some idea as to where they'll be holding up, likely. So that's good, and I can flag them as, you know, do not interact areas on our mission battle map or what have you, you know?
Yeah, I think that's it. But, like, you haven't cleared out the area of Artist's Alley bordering the curse that you'll be operating near, but you can say, oh, there's definitely going to be a bunch of people in that building. Definitely keep clear of that one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It'se, did you have any plans?
Nothing immediately springs to mind, actually.
Okay.
I mean, you've got survey. I mean, you could take one that's just like as we're rolling up to it, just taking a look, I guess.
Can I suggest a plan of attack, and then if we want to do any more research around that, we can...
Yeah, that might be good.
Yes.
Okay, so these guys are dipshit idiots, and they have a sense of honor, probably. I say we call them out.
Oh.
You wanna challenge them to a duel or what have you?
Oh, well, okay. I mean, I don't think we're going to honor that. I'm gonna show up, and I'm gonna be like, hey, assholes, let me fight whoever your guy is, right? Bring out all your people. I want to fight the strongest one. Then I'm gonna say, like, hey, you can surrender now if you want, by the way, just so I can proc my new skill, which we will get into once we're there. And then everyone else can ambush them. because, we don't have a sense of honor.
Well, Mike doesn't have a sense of honor. And that's sort of... Because I was thinking of a plan of attack as well, and my plan of attack, which I think will probably work, in consort with this, is that if their concert... That's the word I meant to say. Consort is a different skill. Is... If they're up on this roof, that's a really good defensible position, they've got all these kind of, mech waist-high barricades to hide behind. Mike, his history is that before he joined the DFS, he was a mech street racer in Bastock. And I think the way that this kind of made sense worked was you'd get mech parkour doing these races over buildings and stuff like this. So he's vaguely aware of, moving around on these, and he has some familiarity with it. And he is now in a mech that can fly. And so he knows that the best way to if they're all holed up around the edges of this roof as a barricade, if you come down directly from the top, they're going to be in a bad situation. And also, you can go straight through this glass ceiling and be inside as well. That will cause a ruckus, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, no, that can absolutely be part of our ambush.
Mm.
You would think Julius would have a sense of honor, but absolutely not.
Unfortunately, Michael is begrudgingly respecting Julius's plans that have come up so far, which will of course be scattered to the winds when he discovers that Julius has rolled back the first one that I was just started. I knew you couldn't trust it. What do you mean we're not doing this?
Yep.
I think I disagree with this plan because I do have a sense of honor. But
should we have this conversation in
yeah, we certainly could. Yep.
I don't know about a sense of honor, but I think it's kind of a dick move. I mean, it's a war zone and all, but...
Just smash cut to Mike with his little flip chart going, and that's when I go through the ceiling.
Yeah, I think maybe we can, set this in the wake of, of Julius having explained the plan, maybe?
Yeah.
We're all sat around in a conference room. You can see out into the weird expanse of our ridiculous home base. We've got a flip chart open. Someone's got the dry erase markers out.
I will make a legitimate attempt to promise a peaceful result. I would prefer not to fight. But if we are going to fight, we should win.
Absolutely. And I agree. I know sometimes we can all get a bit too oh yeah, we're going to kick them out. But yeah, we should legitimately offer a peaceful solution. But let's be honest, they ain't going to take it.
I agree that we should offer a peaceful solution. I disagree that deceiving them and attacking the 501st while their backs are turned or their attention is on a supposed duel would be an appropriate course of action.
Ipse, you're aware we are at war?
I am aware we're at war.
There are no rules in any book anywhere that suggest we shouldn't ambush our enemies.
I think that if we are fighting because we believe that the DFS is the side that wins this war, that the principles we live by should triumph and be brought to the people who live here, we should try to live up to those principles ourselves while we fight.
Sure, but I remind you there's something in there that's trying to take over our systems, trying to integrate and do something incredibly sketchy. That's an attack.
My first priority is saving lives, and my second priority is the DFS. We save the most lives the most efficiently by cleanly defeating the bastards.
I would like to recon the bastards' position and see if I can assess their strength. If you could beat them in a straight fight, then I see no reason for us to ambush them.
I think that this should be put to a vote. But I would appreciate any recon.
Listen, I appreciate going through with all this if, when, and maybe. But let's be honest here. We offer them an honest duel. The moment it looks like their guy's losing, they're going to cheat. And then we just smack them.
Yes. If that would mollify Ipse.
I absolutely agree that we would be on standby in case the 501st also chose to use this as a chance to ambush us. Yes.
And what if I beat their combatant cleanly? Do we attack them anyway afterwards?
Well, I presume that the plan is to say the conditions are if you were to win a duel, they would leave the premises, seeing as that's our primary objective here.
I don't know that they'll necessarily go for that.
No, they'll say they will, and then they won't, and then we get them. I'm not sure what the complication is.
Yeah, no, I think Julius shrugs like, yeah, okay. Tracks.
Does True have an opinion on this?
We give them a chance to back up first.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I can agree with that plan.
But I want everyone in attack formation in the event that they don't.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, sounds like we're agreed. Good.
Okay, then. Did you want to scout out their positions still?
That seems wise.
Yeah, I would still like to go and check. I mean, if it turns out they have some kind of super mech that would absolutely destroy Julius, then maybe our plan is going to take that into account, but...
I would simply beat the super mech.
Mm-hmm.
You would simply weaken the super mech, and then I would beat the super mech.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, so... I'd like to go do some recon. Was anyone intending on joining me? I make that offer in that same meeting, I think. I say, but I'll head out later that day. If anyone would like to accompany me, that would be reasonable.
I'll go.
Cool.
Alright. Yeah, so where do you think to do this recon? Do you just find like a tall building in Artist's Alley or something?
Yeah, I think that's probably the best thing. I really do just have a picture of standing on a rooftop somewhere we can try and get a view of the 501st position.
Mm.
I'll take a stress to give you an assist if you want.
Sweet, that sounds great.
Yeah, sounds like a survey to me.
There's a 6.
Hell yeah.
With that, I think I can definitely, for starters, give you an early move over to the incredibly high-tech map that I have for this.
Ooh.
Hell yeah. Squares and triangles.
Wowie.
Yeah, we've got
I love to
a
observe
third shape.
two-dimensional shapes.
Some eggs.
Yeah.
Mm.
We've got the Artist's Alley in the bottom right as kind of like a triangle, like we're coming in at an angle on that. I guess that's the border there. The lobby in the top right is a rectangle that's red. We've got the music department just to the left of that, which is a smaller rectangle and is blue, and theatre, a blue circle just to the side of that. And the Aeolian Gardens, it would seem, like represented by some smaller, I'm not sure what they are, smaller blue dots, probably representing features of some kind, and there in the middle, which is like a wide open space.
Alien Gardens seems like a good place to challenge someone to a mech
I was going to
duel,
say,
I gotta say.
the first thing I'm identifying from this scouting is that there's a cool spot for a mech fight.
Oh, and there's a 501st breach point just at the bottom as well.
Yeah.
Okay, yep, I do see that.
So the theatre is the place with the fucked up architecture and the weird roof. The music department is like the outlying smaller sub-buildings of that department. The lobby is literally the lobby for the whole CalazCon AR experience, so it's sort of like the hub. So this is a place where, in theory, like, it would be relatively easy to get in, but it would also be filled with CalazCon attendees who might potentially pay attention to what you're doing, and who, if you interfere over in that direction, might notice and cause some problems. The Aeolian Gardens is a large-scale sort of sculpture outside the music department, which is like, you know what an Aeolian harp is? Like a big structure that catches the wind and makes like a musical tone. It's a lot of those.
That sounds very cool.
So it's this place filled with eerie, harmonic whistling noises. It is also one of the major curse battlefields. So, like, as you're looking down on it, it's say you blink for a second and see huge ships looming above with platoons of excellent soldiers pouring out. But then you see them sort of like glitch and change to CalazCon colours, and then another like opposing CalazCon force from the CalazCon universe like suddenly clips in and spawns in on the other side and rushes in. There's an explosion as an RV like, looms out from behind one of the sculptures, but it doesn't seem to damage anything, and you sort of blink for a second before you realise that this is all in AR. This isn't happening yet. Not now, at least.
Cool. Okay.
And finally, the 501st breach point is... This is where the 501st broke through the outer wall with fortifications to sort of get a quick, easy route to the music department without going through everything else. So essentially this is an area where, in theory, it's very easy to access. However, you can sort of tell that the 501st used and continue to use it. I imagine there's like dirt tracks of vehicles and RV footprints and so on. So in theory, it's very easy to walk in here, but the 501st put it here. They're very aware of it and presumably are watching it.
So do I spot any non-AR'd, like 501st RVs while I'm looking out here? Because that was what we were originally coming to kind of assess.
I think you can just about catch the edge of like a shoulder or something, or you can see like maintenance crews coming to the like northwest. So you get a sense of there's probably some being kept in storage or maintenance around the back of the theatre. And you can see a couple on the roof of the theatre, like we talked about. In fact, you know what? I think you see one other thing. I think way high up, back and behind the theatre, you see that you're not the only person watching this. You see, like, a hovering autonomous drone with a compound eye camera that is distinctly fixed on the same area that you're looking at.
Interesting. Okay.
Alright.
The drone is, like, painted to look like a tiny version of a famous ship from the CalazCon franchise, and it has, what's some insufferable merch that you could attach to an autonomous drone?
Like a plushie set on top?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it has a tiny banner with, like, shipping opinions on it.
Oh my god.
It has, like, a little streamer.
It's a bad setting, actually.
A little streamer saying, like, Bastardos / the Lieutenant isn't canon, or something. This is an early birds drone. The early birds are keeping constant surveillance on this place.
We do have a -1 with the early birds. They think we're petty.
Yeah, because
right.
you wouldn't just give them your entire repair pay.
Well, yeah, it was those people who just tried to rob us.
Yeah.
Screw those guys.
So, like, Ipse and I are on a roof somewhere, presumably. I think is like, as we're sort of like heading down, Julius says, Ipse, there aren't any DFS charters that say we have to fight fair. And I know that because I read most of them while I was in one of your prisons.
I appreciate that you had time to read serving your sentence, Julius, but I have lived in the DFS. I have been in the room where important decisions were made, and I understand that the DFS succeeds because it is fair and egalitarian. We should apply those principles in warfare too.
I think that there is a moment, or like, I guess a cracking in Julius' face, and he says, "You really believe that?"
I would not be here if I did not believe it.
Well, this is an in-character loss for words. I think he doesn't know what to say for several minutes, and then he salutes very, very sincerely, and moves on.
Damn.
Yep, good.
I have just remembered that my belief about Ipse is Ipse's mission is hopeless. I can't help wanting to help them.
Yeah, I never expected to see Julius get outstand on the DFS.
Yeah, I just like... The little robot really thinks we can win war playing fair. That's... Goddamn.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
again,
rough,
Goddamn.
I'm not expressing it to Julius directly, but my belief being Julius is proof that we're fighting the good fight and that he should be protected. I fully believe that the fact that we do fight, quote unquote, more honorably or better or fairer than people like the Jurgen Evangelians is also why you are here and not on the other side still. So, yeah. Happy to let that hang in the air.
Guess.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Do we want to roll some things?
I think first you're going to need a plan and a detail.
I mean, our plan is to just, like, straight up call them out, right? Is to show up and be like, hey, I want to fight a duel. Whoever wins the, like, if you win,
This is
you
also
get-
like a quite good faith duel.
Yeah.
I don't think it's not a deception with the detail being the duel, I think.
Yeah.
no, this is an
I've
assault.
persuaded you off the deception plan, right? Effectively.
Is this an assault?
I think so.
If we were definitely going to backstab them during the duel, then I would argue deception, but I don't think it is. I think it's assault.
Michael is very convinced that they're going to try and betray us first, and has bet anyone is running a book on how long it will take for this to happen.
Julius thinks it would be, unfair if he were to bet on himself, but, like, privately very much agrees. But yeah, I think this is an assault plan. I think the detail is the duel. And I think, I guess we have to ask them what they get if, they win. But I suppose that'll be something that happens in the moment. And I'd rather open it with, like, not in the middle of the duel, right? Because I, again, do want to genuinely offer, like, a good faith, like, hey, surrender now and leave because you are hurting these people.
100%. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Alright. So, plan, assault. Detail, which is a point of attack, is walking up and asking politely.
It's more of a call out. I think it's slightly more involved than just rocking up.
Next question. Pilot load.
Medium, I think I'm going to go with.
Heavy, again, I think.
Oh, actually, yeah, we're going in for this. Yeah, if it's, I'll go heavy. Actually, that's a good point. If this
heavy.
goes south, then it's going to go south very obviously.
I'll go medium.
Okay. Is anyone entering the mission with any harm or damage?
Yes. Level 1 damage dented.
I think that means that you get 1 XP and the squad gets 1 rep,
Oh, because of your martyr skill.
right?
No, the squad gets 1 rep, but I don't get an XP.
Right.
The XP comes from something else.
Okay. Engagement roll. Is the mission bold? Take +1. Is the mission especially complex? Take -1. This is bold, so we're up to 2 dice.
Excellent.
Does the mission exploit the target's vulnerabilities?
Yes.
Yes, you've met Commanding Officer Force Majeure. You know that they are a sucker for this shit. We're up to 3. Is the squad receiving external support for the mission? No.
I feel like we're doing this on the benefit of someone, but that's about it.
Is anyone interfering with the mission?
Maybe those jerks with their banned shipping drone.
No. Are there other factors affecting the mission? Yes. There is something that you do not know. 2 dice.
All right. That's a 1 and a 3.
and a
That's
3,
another.
baby.
That's another desperate. That's another desperate.
They're showing up with the Zeong, and it's got legs welded on. Watch out, gamers.
All right, then. Okay. Well.
What do they get out of this? If they win, Julius will surrender to them.
Oh, boy.
Am I fair in assuming that you're all just showing up in your RVs?
Yes, although I'm not on the front line.
I definitely was going to.
Alright.
Yeah. Or we'll be secreted away, potentially. But we will be in them, if not immediately visible to...
I mean, True should be, like a mile away.
Oh, that was fully my intention.
Just for,
yes.
like, combat
Yeah.
efficiency reasons, but yeah.
600 miles away.
Yeah.
I'm on the other side of the planet.
Yeah.
Alright, so where are you doing this? Yeah, whereabouts did you plan to, like, issue your challenge from? And who is present and visibly making the challenge?
Julius is here. He has a white flag. And I think he's the one making the challenge.
Okay. And is it, like, literally just you visible?
I feel like Ipse would want to be visible, right?
Yeah, I'm also going to come with. Yep.
Alright.
Like, Mike probably not,
Mhm.
Yeah.
So where do you approach from? Are you, like, right outside the breach point?
but... yeah.
Okay. So, let me check I've got this right. You're strolling purposefully, arms at your side, not, like, bearing the weapons on the Blade of Liberty or the Toru, waving that white flag.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely no pretenses. And you prepare to open comms. And then the comms get opened. Spare me. I see your white flag. I know your tricks. I know that the captain, dear and naive and honourable as he is, has spoken his pomp and his circumstance to you. I also know that you fly with 2 allies, and I don't see them anywhere.
Is this like a personal message? Like, is this to me specifically, or to Ipse, or...?
You and Ipse. In fact, I would say that all 4 of you can hear this, but it's clearly addressed to, like, you and Ipse.
Yeah.
I will not let my captain suffer from fools taking advantage of his grace in dignity. Before you speak to force majeure, tell me, Lieutenant Nuclear Winter, why you should pass, and why you should get to speak across blades with my captain. This is your desperate position. Force majeure has a friend who is not a complete idiot.
God damn it. We were really counting on that whole complete idiot thing.
Ah, beans. That was a structurally important idiot
the
to our
common
plans.
load-bearing idiot.
Stand down, Lieutenant Winter. Our business is not with you, and we have no obligation to inform you of the location of our forces. We are here to talk on peaceful grounds with the captain of the 501st Legion. I'd like to roll command.
Ooh, okay. Okay. Well, this is desperate, by definition.
I'll take that XP, thank you.
This feels very harsh, but I think it's desperate limited.
Oh boy, okay.
Like, this guy has demonstrated that, Lieutenant Winter uses they, them pronouns. They are the pragmatic side of the leadership. So, like, they have shown you they are not the person who, like, pulling rank is going to work on.
Okay. I'm going to make a pitch for you for something that might improve my effect. I'd like to tick Hollow Projector.
Uh-huh, yeah.
I want to make this conversation very obvious, and I want to send a message to the captain over this person's head.
Oh, 100%, yeah. Desperate standard.
Yeah. Does anyone want to help me?
I could help you. I also have a hollow projector, actually. So if you wanted to save yourself, or I have the ability to use my weight saving hollow projector for a one-off. If you wanted to save yourself,
you would then be revealing yourself. Also,
if this is the case, because Michael is quite arrogant and feels it doesn't actually matter if they see him or not. He'll be able to fly up faster than they're going to be able to do anything about anyway. So would coming with my blades up be a demonstration of like helping get the point across that, okay, fine, we'll level with you? Do you think that would be useful?
Hell yeah. I mean, what does the GM think? But, I would think that's very useful.
Yeah, I think if that can show that you're, being honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. You got me.
Nice.
The other one isn't here. Which she isn't. I'll use my my one-off hollow projector to do that. So unless you want to have the hollow projector declared.
Does it matter to the effect who has the hollow projector?
I don't think so.
Okay, so no. Then I'd rather, if you can spend it for free, then I'd rather not spend it.
Yeah.
So you've spent time with me, right? For a downtime. So you're taking 2 stress and I get 2 benefits.
That's correct.
Okay, so I'm gonna take an extra dice, and I'm gonna take. You know what? Maybe I won't make a terrible decision, and I'll actually make it risky standard rather than desperate great. Maybe.
You could always use the help to reduce your position and then increase your position for even more effect.
Is there a devil's bargain here?
A collateral.
Or a collateral dice. Sorry, yes.
You're drawing attention to yourself. A collateral is I start a 4 o'clock labelled reinforcements, and I tick it.
How do we feel about that, gang?
Was that a 4-step?
Yeah.
It's only taking it once.
You know, it's bound to happen at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, fuck it. Yeah, okay. So yeah, that's 3 dice risky standard.
All right, man. Wonderful.
Just put in chat, go into danger and fall in love with True Blue, because of course her name is spelled like trouble.
But she's taken though, so...
She is taken though. You can still love her, but it's a one-way situation.
Oh, that's very sad. Hey, that's a 6.
Wow, okay. Nice work. Okay, just to remind you, the region rule for Curse is because the whole place is so intrinsically bound up with AR, and a lot of it is very sort of spaghetti code-ish and malleable. Scan and interface actions have increased effect here. However, as a consequence, or any time anyone rolls them, I will tick a scene change clock. When the clock fills, we re-roll your engagement roll as like the AR environment suddenly changes, and your position immediately changes to match that result.
Well, good news, folks. It can't get worse.
Well, yes, but the thing is, by the time that fills, you might have successfully bargained yourself into a risky position. So, yeah, it's a matter of careful timing.
Anyway, let me talk to the boss.
Yeah, and an important detail to mention is, I think you can actually hear background noise over Lieutenant Nuclear Winter's comms, and I think one of the noises you can hear is someone is playing the violin. I have a specific thing in mind. I think it's something that sounds kind of at odds with the situation. It's like that famous Paganini Caprice. You probably don't know the name, but you'd recognize it if I played it. It's one of the distinctive rhythm. It's like bum ba da 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 da. That one. Anyway, and then but in the middle of a phrase, you suddenly hear just like halt. And you hear a voice in the background say, "What is that out of the window?" And you immediately hear Lieutenant Winter say, "God damn it." And soon enough, another figure joins the communications. Force Majeure arrives and says, "Lieutenant Winter, let me take over from here and entertain our guests."
Julius, turns his comms off so he can, chuckle to himself and then turns them back on.
So, turncoat though you are, you yet have the shreds of honor to answer the summons that I have sent you. I trust that my dear lieutenant gave you a warm welcome.
Yes. Very, very generous. Yes, your summons. Julius has just remembered that there was anything of the kind. We are here to offer you the opportunity to peacefully surrender.
I think I've made my position quite clear. There can be no peace between us. Tell me why I would change my mind.
Are you aware of the effect that whatever your machinations within Curse are having on the people of the Jovangelian Empire? I have no love for the Empire anymore, but I remember its people, and they are decent, hard-working folk.
So something interesting happens here. Our position here is of immense strategic importance. We have been assured of this, and the Bastardos division does not spurn the duty that it is given. And I have no knowledge of what you speak. This region is a strange and treacherous land. It may well be doing this of its own accord. You can tell that Force Majeure believes he is telling the truth. You have seen some very serious and very deliberate seeming complications arising that have been arising ever since the 501st set up shop here. He does not believe that they are causing them.
Would he respond to proof this was happening? Or is he just like, oh, it's happening and it's not our problem?
You get the sense that it's not necessarily even a matter of he doesn't know it's happening. it would also be a matter of, like, persuading him that it is somehow linked to his presence, which you are going to have a hard time of when it's clear he is the commanding officer, and he doesn't seem to know of anything they're doing that could be causing that.
Okay, what if I make a stab in the dark?
Tell me what you say, and we'll think about what happens.
This is just like a wild swing, but Julius sort of like points. He's got his big fucking spear. It's what the white flag is on.
Mm-hmm.
And he like points over at Lieutenant Winter and says, "Look to your chain of command. I think it is likely that they are going behind your back."
Force Majeure's face turns sort of cold and stony. Lieutenant Winter's eyes just narrow. I think, let's say that these are video communications, so we can get Lieutenant Winter's face on screen, we can get a reminder of what Force Majeure looks like.
Like a real prick.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah.
So here's Force Majeure, and here, debuting, is Nuclear Winter. How to describe Nuclear Winter? Nuclear Winter is in very, like, urban-y, splattered grey and dark blue camo, with a cap, and looks kind of like skinny and androgynous, with 2 diagonal stripes of black and brown paint over their face.
How are they reacting to this?
Force Majeure immediately just sort of like reddens and blusters and like just sort of splutters and begins to speak up, and then Nuclear Winter just says, "Don't trouble yourself, Captain. Allow me. It is true that me and the Captain are very different people. Where he is summer, I am winter. Nevertheless, we act as one. I will not have you using that against us. Better people than you have tried it, and they have failed. Do not slight us in this way again."
Well, alright, well that one didn't work. How do I get this fucking guy to duel me?
I mean, you've got him to answer, and he's treated as like, "You answered my summons." You've got no indication that now that you've got Force Majeure on the line, he's going to keep saying no.
Oh, sure. I wanna answer. I wanna like offer a peaceful solution in some way.
I guess the peaceful solution is that they leave. They're out. Are they on foot, or are they in RVs?
I mean, like any sort of squad in this situation, you've scouted. You know that they have RVs. You right now you're communicating. You don't know where geographically Force Majeure and Nuclear Winter are. They've opened comms with you because you're clearly in range. So you don't know where they are right now, but you know that their forces are a mixture of RV and infantry.
Okay, I think I just want to sort of push past that. You know what? Clearly it was a shot in the dark, it didn't work out. Your personal affairs are nothing to me. I give you one more opportunity to leave this facility and stop your torment of the citizenry. This feels like another command or a consort.
I mean, yes, but it's also are you sincerely trying to get them to do this? Right?
Yeah.
This is not something that they will do. I'm saying that on a meta level of this isn't something we should roll for. I'm saying if you're okay with it, this is just something you say and they say no.
This is fair. I should say this on mic. I did take the ability Carry a Big Stick, which is if you got a 4+ on a roll to offer a peaceful solution, you get +1d in combat for the rest of the mission against anyone that refused your offer. So, if I'm not rolling, then that doesn't really apply, and I'm happy to just have the duel. Right? Unless you want to count that command roll, but I don't necessarily know that that's
No. Okay, how about compromise? I mean, the compromise here is if you say that and they say no, you could offer them a peaceful solution that is not them moving. There are peaceful solutions that they might attempt to consider.
Yeah, but if they're not them leaving, then we don't win our mission. So.
True, but for example, what if Julius says, alright, will you let some of our pilots be escorted onto your base to figure out what the association is between you and the problems the Hive are having?
Nah, I think we should just fight them.
Okay.
Michael's engines have been thrumming. He's ready to go.
I think I still want to throw down the gauntlet.
Yeah, you should still offer a duel, right? They're not surrendering.
I want to say let's duel for
honor.
I challenge you to single combat, and if I'm victorious, you must leave this facility. If you are victorious, you may name your condition.
Very well. Myself and Lieutenant Winter will meet you on the field to agree terms. Yourself and the comrade with you will join us. You realise from...
Oh, Ipse, huh?
Yeah, you realise from force majeure's phrasing that force majeure is implicitly assuming that the duel is happening in pairs.
Thanks for listening to CalazCon. This episode was edited and sound balanced by Christine Blight. You can reach her for voice acting at cvblight@gmail.com. The show's music is by Devin Nelson. You can find them on all social media at Devin Decibel. If you'd like to support CalazCon, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/CalazCon. Please tell your friends about the show too. Remember, all glory to Calazar.